Hello everyone and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. The main objective of this video is to talk about the Reaper Seal triumph known as the Shadow's Return. The main objective of this triumph in the Reaper Seal is to defeat dangerous threats while exploring the Leviathan destination. But what some of you don't realize upon looking at this triumph for the first time is how much this triumph branches out. Here's a picture on screen of the list of things that you have to do from the Shadow's Return. Shadow's Return branches out to Fever Dream. A Guardian is a Guardian even in a nightmare. Get to taking out their commanders one by one, and controlled burn. But these four triumphs all split into their own little trees as well. So let's break it down, make it easier for all of you. Let's start with the first of the four branch objectives. The first one is Fever Dream. This triumph requires the player to locate 4 enemies within something called the Haunted Alcoves, which are essentially hidden locations on the Derelict Leviathan where bosses have a chance to spawn. Most likely after a public event, but very commonly upon entering an area for the first time, one of 2 Haunted Alcoves will be full of nightmare enemies. There are 2 located in the Royal Pools, and there are 2 located in the Pleasure Gardens. Let's start with the first of the 4. Sporists of Beasts. This boss can be located in the central underground zone of the Pleasure Gardens underneath the Callus statue, where you take out the Beastmaster boss. You first have to defeat all the nightmares in there, and then after a short amount of time the Beastmaster will spawn, but you only have a certain amount of time where you can kill him until he despawns. Keep in mind, most of the time when you load into the Pleasure Gardens, this activity is already available, as it was for me. But there is a chance that it won't be, and you'll have to wait for a message on the bottom left of your screen to pop up. In this particular instance with Sporists of Beast, I have never seen this pop up, and I have only seen the Sporists of Beast enemy when I load into the zone. But for this second one, there actually is a message. So let's get into the second one. The second, Nightmare Breached, takes place across from the Callus statue within a hidden alcove. There will be 2 bosses that spawn in here, as well as a ton of other Nightmare Raiders and Stalkers. The Sword and the Shield are your bosses. Keep in mind, when this boss spawns, you will see a message on the bottom left that says something about Sword and Shield are clashing. This happens after public events, or just randomly while you're going through this Pleasure Gardens instance. The third Haunted Alcove is located within the Royal Pools. Drainage is also a hidden alcove where you can find one of the Callus bobbleheads that I have actually previously made for a guide. The boss that you have to fight in here is Kalek the Sniper, whose message reads, "A red dot hovers over your ghost." Once you know that's there, go down into that little alcove on the far side of Royal Pools, go down in, defeat the Loyalist war beasts and a couple other nightmares, and then take out Kalek the Sniper. The fourth and final of the first branch of challenges is called Ritual Under Shadow. This takes place in a very well hidden doorway where you must perform a ritual after a dark ether message pops up on your left side screen. In here, you have to defeat Siad the Unending. So that is all 4 of the first few challenges for the Fever Dream. For the second of 4 for the Shadow's Return, the next of the 4 branches is A Guardian is a Guardian, even in a nightmare. This requires you to assist coalition troops by disrupting Loyalist forces across the Leviathan. This triumph is very similar to the first triumph of Fever Dream and has 4 extra sections with 4 different bosses that can spawn in either Pleasure Gardens or Royal Pools. These 4 bosses will act as public events where the sky will get blue and then an event will start, spawning randomly throughout your time in the Leviathan. The public event bosses are as follows. The first is to defeat the shield guard that is holding a large Scion prisoner. Once you do so, you are awarded with a triumph and a new friend to help you fight in the Pleasure Gardens or, well, the Royal Pools. The second is to defeat 3 war bond enemies. There are 3 Scorn chieftains with names like the Sunken or the Forgotten. Once all 3 are defeated during the event, they merge into a final being called Sekik, the Seeker of the Deep. Once defeated, you gain another triumph. The third is to locate the Loyalist commander that spawns during a public event in the Royal Pools. He spawns with shield bubbles with generators in the middle that need to be destroyed. After they are, the commander finds his way to the battlefield and finally, you defeat him. But keep in mind, this one can also be unlockable in the Pleasure Gardens as well. As a matter of fact, I forgot to mention, all of these different triumphs, all 4 of these different public event triumphs, can be in either the Pleasure Gardens or the Royal Pools. So they don't have to be in one or the other. You could go to one of these 2 places and have a chance of spawning. Finally, the 4th public event challenge that you have to do is fighting 2 commanders side by side. This one I have more commonly found at the Royal Pools, but I believe you can also do this one at the Pleasure Gardens as well. This one is to fight a Scorn and a Cabal boss, Augor the Devoted of Callus and Jayek, Supplicant of Callus. Now the last two sections of this challenge for the Shadow's Return Seal Triumph aren't actually that bad. The third section of Shadow's Return Triumph is to defeat 2 roaming bosses within the royal pools. So roaming bosses, as most of you know from other locations like the EDZ or Nessus or any other location really, you just will have a random chance of a high value target spawning. And in this case, the high value targets in the royal pools that you need to defeat for the third section are Kylex the Docked and Evox the Burned. They both have a random chance of spawning and act as a normal high value target from most destinations, specifically in the royal pools. And the fourth and final section of Shadow's Return is again very similar to that of the prior challenge, except it is for the Pleasure Gardens. The 2 roaming bosses you have to face here are Talazat Fed to Beasts and Wyok Spinebreaker. That is all for the Shadow's Return Triumph. I hope this helped you guys out. If there's any questions you have about any of these bosses, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. I would have included this in the final guide, but at the time that I was making it, I didn't really understand a lot about these challenges, and I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into it in a separate video anyways because of how lengthy this Triumph is. If you want to subscribe for more Destiny 2 guides later in the future, I'm going to try to have a guide of all the Callus bobblehead locations later on in the season, as well as all of the Sever automatons that you have to find. And make sure to subscribe for more content just outside of Destiny 2 as well. I do Fortnite, I do Destiny, I do other games like today, as I'm recording this video, I made a video on Papers, Please. So make sure to go check those out. I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to use my supporter creator code in the Epic Games Store or in the item shop in Fortnite, that is Strawdesert HD, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.